Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel Trading Secrets. This channel is for entertainment purposes only. For those of you who do not know, my name is Ali. I have over 20 years experience teaching accounting, economics, business and law. Through this channel I'll be providing some stock analysis and a quick update on the $1 Million Challenge. So if anybody's not aware of this is a journey of investment of $1,000 to a return of $1 million over a period of 3 years using a strategy called compound return investing. So the objective is try to get 201 trades, each with an average return of 3.5%. It's not 201 consecutive trades. We do take into account losses. So for further details about how to join us, less than $9 a month, information is available in the description below. And one more thing I'd like to add is special thanks to one of the Discord members for commenting on the challenge, and this member just joined in 2023, so I'm just going to share with you some of his feedback here. And what he stated is he started 1/1/23 with $400, so you don't need to start with $1,000, and he's trying to build he's been trying to build that using compounding dividends on 3 to 4 small plays a week, which is what we recommend. He's now increased it to £580, and it's been a helpful strategy. Glad he joined. So I also like to say thank you very much for that feedback. So this is just a small amount of money to get to trade one. He would need to get that to $1,000, but that does not mean you can start you have to start with $1,000. You can start with more, or you can start with less. In today's video we're going to be looking at MMTLP, and the focus of today's video will be looking at FINRA's feeble fight back with regard to Rosa's case. So we're going to have a look at some of the key points identified by FINRA. I'm also going to be adding on second part of your personal MMTLP stories, and in today's stories I'm going to be sharing with you from my point of view, which I think is the most tragic and sad story out of all of them, so stay tuned for that. So let's first of all have a look at an important post here from Camwill35. Again, very interesting, and what he stated here is he's contacted FINRA today. Person was very quick to mention the call was being recorded. After my inquiry about MMTLP, she hung up and was clearly startled. So he called again. He said FINRA is preparing a public statement soon, but no timeline. So key thing I'm picking up from here is soon, and also picking up the other thing is timeline. So one thing I can say is Camwill35 is somebody I do personally know. This is a person who remember is who reached out to Erin, and he's also a member of the Discord. So from my point of view, 100% trustworthy and reliable. So let's now see what happens with regard to this tweet in terms of FINRA. And finally, before we make a start in terms of having a look at Rosa's case update, let's have a quick look at what Ham is, how she would say Ham the short killer is posting, and he's also going on here with regard to why he does seem to be upset. But he's also saying he's busted his ass, dragging many people to get it perfect. I hope his backside is okay. But Richard Hoffman has chipped in here saying, appreciate your efforts. I filed a lawsuit in California also. So Richard is also somebody we're trying to get engaged with Erin. So hopefully Richard will be able to get in the follow-up video. Finally, what Ham has also stated, although Ham has got a bad ass at the moment, he said no way they are a start. So good news with regard to what he's saying in terms of John Berda. He is a leader, a great one, and from his point of view we don't need to worry. What I'm now going to do is summarize the response, or should we say the feeble response, from FINRA with regard to Rosa, who is identified as the plaintiff. So remember, this is in the United States District Court, Northern District of Florida. So FINRA have responded, and we can see here that they've added on, in terms of the motion, they are adding a motion to dismiss the plaintiff's complaint and incorporated memorandum of law in support. So let's have a look at a summary of what I've interpreted. So remember, just a note before I go through this summary here, so just to say this is my own personal opinion, this is not legal advice. Take this with a pinch of salt, and obviously have a look at the filing yourself. So this is purely my opinion, so I'm going to share that with you now, and this is after having read the response. So what I've picked up here, number one, The plaintiff's complaint is replete with vague allegations and FINRA has absolute immunity. So FINRA, again, acting like the big daddy. They're also saying Rosa's complaint is vague, it's not specific, the allegations are not detailed enough. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't think we could have more specific allegations and detailed responses than we could get from Rosa, but according to FINRA, they don't understand them and they're a bit vague and not enough detail for them. But as far as they are saying is they're repeating the line, we have absolute immunity. So number two, I see this as FINRA attacking the court. What they're saying is the court lacks subject matter jurisdiction. So basically they're saying to the court or the judge, get lost, none of your business. You don't have subject matter jurisdiction over the plaintiff's claims because the case is moot. So what they mean by moot is basically saying it's not relevant, it's not important, and it's not appropriate. So it's kind of saying to the judge, listen, don't get involved. Number three, what they're also saying here is Sherman Act is precluded because FINRA's decision to halt is a regulatory function. So they are saying, this is our job, we're doing our job, leave us to it. The Sherman Act is not appropriate, it's not relevant. So this is another feeble response by FINRA. Number four, FINRA are also now saying they are subject to significant oversight by the SEC. So what they are saying is, well, we don't need anybody to tell us what to do. We don't need you to interfere because the SEC take responsibility. So this is interesting because what this basically means is the SEC have the power to intervene and FINRA have confirmed this. So maybe us as a community can hopefully redirect some pressure onto the SEC. And the good news is we have the Friday day where it states occupy the SEC because the SEC is the supervisory body over FINRA, and FINRA have confirmed that here and saying, look, if the SEC are not saying anything to us, who are you, Mr. Judge? Because our boss is the SEC and the SEC are not doing anything about it, so who are you? Number five, FINRA's authority to halt is recognised by the SEC. So again, FINRA are bringing their daddy into the play and say, look, we've halted, our daddy, the SEC, have not said anything to us. You know, it's recognised if we halt it, they say nothing. This is tantamount to the SEC approving it and recognising it. So none of your business. That's my interpretation from FINRA there. And number six, what they are also saying here is Rule 6440, approved by SEC, authorises FINRA to exercise discretion. So the key word I'm picking up here is discretion. So discretion is very subjective. It basically means they do what they want as they please. And in this particular matter, the discretion they decided to use was to protect some investors. We know who those investors are. So what discretion also means is they would also have had the discretion not to take this action. They've decided to use it to because discretion obviously means it's something they could do or they could not do, but they have chosen to do. So they're clearly saying they made a specific decision to exercise their discretion. So they wanted to protect somebody. Number seven, immunity is regulatory activities. To regulatory activities is absolute. So again, they're acting like diplomats. I would say probably acting like Russian diplomats there, and say, look, we're immune from the law, we're immune from the judge, we're immune from the court, we're immune from the people, we're immune from politics, leave us alone. That's what they're saying. Number eight, and they're also saying where immunity is not restricted on the type of relief sought. So what they're actually specifically talking about here is equitable relief. That's what they're getting to. They're saying, look, you know, don't blame us for anything, you know, okay, and we know you don't want money from us, but don't even ask for equitable relief. We're immune from that as well. So they're kind of saying they are the be all and end all. Number nine, FINRA remains subject to obviously SEC oversight. So they're kind of saying, look, it's not us, it's the SEC as well. They're kind of saying, you know, don't blame us, the SEC, they know what we're doing and they're not saying anything, so what's your problem? Number 10, again, attacking the court. Court lacks subject matter jurisdiction in this case, saying that it's none of your business. So from our point of view, One thing I'd like to remind you of is the judge has still not decided this case. The judge is going to read all this, and if the judge has got any sense, I'm hoping he has, the judge will have the power. So remember, this is just FINRA's response. This is not a decision. This is their message to the court, their message to the judge, but the judge still has the power. So this does not mean the case is over. This basically means the judge is going to read this and then make a decision. So let's continue. Number 11. The plaintiff's claims, are again Rosa, and any claim for equitable relief are moots. So in other words, they're no longer live, no longer valid, and no longer necessary, no longer active. So it's a waste of time. That's what they are saying. Number 12, they're also saying Rosa or plaintiff has not pleaded a concrete and particularized injury. So in other words, what was her loss? She's not identified the dollar amount. What was her injury in terms of, we could say financial injury? She's not specified. So what's the problem? But I think they are missing the point here, because Rosa did not claim any injuries. She did not claim any losses. She just wanted equitable relief, and we as a community of investors, we also want everything obviously out in the open. FINRA have the data, they have the information, but we don't have access to that. Number 13, preventing the reconciliation of short positions. So they have addressed this point now. By broker-dealer, is a generalized grievance and insufficient to establish a personal injury. So they're kind of dodging the question here. They're saying it's very generalized, it's very unspecific. This grievance, or so-called generalized grievance that you are saying, is insufficient to establish a personal injury. So we know out there that how many investors have been hurt, have been damaged, livelihoods have been broken, families have been destroyed, health has been affected, and people's lives have been devastated. But FINRA are saying here, there's no evidence of that, it's insufficient, it's generalized. And that's what they're saying. And finally, the last thing I've picked up here is the complaint fails to allege a conspiracy or restraint of trade. So remember, that is Rosa's use of the Sherman Act. So they are saying there is no obviously complaint allegation of that. They're saying there was no restraint of trade, and this is not sufficient. So that's a summary of how I have seen it. So I'm going to now forward on to the summary of the reasons what FINRA have stated. So they said, for these reasons, the plaintiff's complaint does not present justiciable claims that can be decided by the court, and the complaint must be dismissed because the court lacks subject matter jurisdiction. Plaintiffs failed to state a claim upon which relief can be granted, and obviously not state a claim under the Sherman Act. Sherman Act claim is precluded by the Exchange Act. So that's the first thing. And in conclusion, what they've stated here, it should be dismissed in its entirety. So thrown out, not relevant, just put it in the bin. That's what FINRA want. FINRA's decision to halt trading in MMTLP is protected by absolute immunity. So strong reminder in the conclusion for the judge. And they're also saying plaintiffs should not be granted leave to amend because any amendment would be futile. So they're presenting a case history here, Hernandez versus Peterson, from 1323. Well, they've gone back a bit there, haven't they? Or so it seems. And then finally here we can see in terms of how it's signed, their solicitor is Mandel and Mandel LLP, Florida, DSM at mandel.law, telephone 305-374-37771. This is a public document, and they are certifying on the 25th of January 2023. Document was filed with the court, and obviously now we're waiting for response and an update from the court. So it's a case of the decision is now over to the judge, and hopefully we will get a speedy response to this, and a positive response. Finally, I'm going to move on to the second part of summary of the story. So what I stated in yesterday's tweet is your stories will be heard. They have been shared with Erin, and I'm now going to share some of the stories where I have been given permission. So this first story for me is the most heartbreaking out of all of them. So let's have a look at this one. And this is a person I personally have reached out to and have been engaging with. So this is a person who is fighting a 10.3 centimeter maligna brain tumor, since May, and we look at this person is not currently doing well, constant pain, insomnia, the person is getting weaker, the person is losing parts of himself, the stress of FINRA has made matters worse. Significantly, this person is a single father since 2002, has 2 wonderful daughters, and is fighting to see his daughters get paid. The person is a nurse, he can't work at the moment, obviously due to the illness. He's a US Army vet for 12 years. He's a very good person. He is not going to be, unfortunately, here to see how this thing plays out, but he does have 2 angry daughters that will be there fighting with a vengeance, and they will not be stopped. Wishes everybody luck, and he will be watching, and we also wish you luck, my friend, as well, and we hope you will be here to celebrate with us when we get success, because we are not going away. Second story here is a single father of a 5-year-old girl that works 6 days a week, every week to provide for his daughter. And he was expecting to make a decent amount of money to provide for the daughter, and obviously everybody knows what happens. And then finally, third story to finish off. This person previously lost the job of 16 years due to COVID. So not great. He was also sick from COVID and been living with the daughters in a car since. So let me repeat that, living in a car. In his daughter's car, should I clarify there. So being unhoused, he's had health issues which are unmanageable. He's on insulin, daily injection, blood pressure is high, dentist won't fill in his cavities, migraines are getting worse, neurologist is saying he needs to increase his medications. He's 55 years old, car is now broken, got no work, no place to live. He's tired, he's physically and mentally tired. So MMTLP was going to end his homeless situation. Friday, December the 9th, 2022 was also going to be the day that he was not going to sleep in his car. He was crushed, he woke up, saw the halt, cried. Situation was not going to change, cried even harder, and obviously had to tell the kids the news. He's still homeless, and he just basically, this person is missing simple things like a bed, a hot shower and a clean bathroom. So in summary, the person has finished off by saying the market is corrupt, it's blatantly out in the open. After this is done, he is not going to invest anymore until Wall Street is cleaned up. So last thing I want to finish off by is a reminder that Friday is the day of Occupy SEC. Please protest peacefully. Please protest professionally, and in my opinion, what I would like from this peaceful protest is for a significant message to be given to the mainstream press focusing on MMTLP.